Okay, so that was pretty easy. So we don't have to take the hinge off both pieces. This big piece here is fine. And so we just leave that alone. And then again, we're just going to unscrew these here. So we'll want to save these, and so this piece just comes off like that, and then this piece fits just like so. So if the gluing doesn't work, we'll actually make a new piece, which I'll probably do anyway, but maybe just, yeah, maybe not. It's not. Yeah, I don't think so. I think we're just going to make a new piece because this is not butting up super well to the original break. There's a bit of a gap in here where it looks like some wood was lost on the back side. But this will be a perfect template because we have the proper size for the adjustment slots, which I can extend and actually make longer. But it gives a good template guide, so I can use a drill and just kind of drill out all these sections using this as the guide and have it clamped to another. But I will still have to glue this so I can use it as a guide. So we'll go ahead and get that done. And then I'm just going to set these down like so. Put these screws in these holes here so we don't lose them. You could do anything you want, but don't lose them, because otherwise you'll be out looking for a replacement. And that's it for this part. So I'm going to go glue this up real quick, and I am going to use the Gorilla Glue, and then we'll take this outdoors, go find the piece of wood, and we'll mark it out, we'll cut it up, we'll make the edges nice, all that good stuff. We'll get all those pieces together, and since we got a perfect template, everything should be perfecto. So we'll talk to y'all later, and we'll get back to this. Before we head out to work on the bottom piece here, I had to glue it, so we can't do anything until after everything's dry. So I used some original Gorilla Glue, and using this stuff here, wear gloves, because if it gets on your fingers, it's really sticky. I'm not sure what takes it off. Maybe alcohol. I'll take a look at the label here. But here I have the piece, and you can see it's all kind of foamed up a bit, and I've touched a lot of different places, so it's kind of glossy. Using the rubber band as my clamp, and you can see how it foamed up here. So you have to get your parts dampened, and then put the glue on, and then clamp it, and then as it activates, it gets kind of foamy, like that liquid foam stuff. You squirt it in and then it foams up. So similar to that, but not super aggressive. So once this is all set up, then we can take it off. We can cut off all the excess. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand it a little bit just to clean it up so it doesn't have all this stuff on there. When it's dry, it's not sticky. Right now it's just a bit sticky. But I wanted to show you what it looks like when you're gluing with original Gorilla Glue. So this isn't Gorilla Wood Glue. Gorilla Wood Glue is more like the Elmer's glue, but more robust for wood, and Gorilla does have that. I thought we had some, and I found it after I needed it last week. So anyway, just wanted to show there's the piece, and we're going to let this thing set up and dry, and then we'll return to the project and finish it up. Then we can just do a real quick overall cleaning and dusting of the wheel. Maybe a light coating of some wood oil. It's walnut oil and carnauba wax. And the walnut oil is like linseed oil in that it hardens. And then the carnauba wax also, when you blend it all together, while it's still wet, it gets down into the wood and helps preserve the wood. Makes a really, really nice finish, and I really like it. And it's all organic stuff. It's not like, one, it's not expensive beeswax. It's palm wax, basically, is what it is. And then walnut oil, which is an all-natural product typically used for hardening, like you'd find with linseed oil. And but typical linseed oil that you buy has lots of extra chemicals in it, and the walnut oil that I'm using does not. So that's the one I preferred to use for finishing my wood stuff after I've sanded it smooth to a natural wood finish. And then I put that on, and it makes it really nice. And so this is let's kind of return to this piece here. So this bobbin here was one that I fixed, and by sanding it to bare wood, and then I put that finish on there, it looks really good. It just kind of blends right in with the color of the wheel. So you don't need any lacquer or anything like that. I just don't use that stuff. Oh no, okay. So I need to keep this from falling over, and we'll get back to it. So that's it for now. Next time we see you, we're going to be outdoors making a new piece here. Well, it's time to unwrap the piece that we glued together. It's not been a full 24 hours, but it's plenty far enough along to unwrap. So even though this glue is good glue, it works. I'm not sure I would recommend on a regular basis. The label says that you definitely have to wear gloves, and it will stain cloth and clothing. So a bit of chemicals and stuff in it, but you can see how it all foamed up. So now we're gonna have to go trim all that stuff off. Kind of messed up the rubber bands, but that's a solid glue job. It's not perfect one side slipped just a little bit off kilter there, but not enough to where it would make any effect on the wheel. So I am going to make a new piece, and we'll show that in this process here, but I think I'm going to use this as well, and put it back into service for the wheel. So good solid thing. So we're going to take it out to the garage, get the chisel and chisel off these pieces, and then use this as a template for the new piece. And the new piece is going to be a bit of poplar wood. Not the same. I don't have the same wood here. I'll have to find out what wood that this is, and then see if I can find a piece from like Home Depot or someplace, and for reproducing. It's got a pretty reasonable grain on here. This isn't old growth forest type wood. So anyway, so that's where we're at right now. So let's get the camera and we'll go outside and clean this piece up. I'll sand it down and all that stuff too. Make it look pretty. Try and sand it down to see if we can make it smooth and look like there isn't any damage, or at least minimal, from the break, from being broken. But that's pretty solid. Pretty darn solid. All right, so let's see if my little chisel that I have here, I know this is just a scraper, but I've sharpened it really sharp. Let's see if this will. Yeah, look at that. It just comes right off. Okay, it turned out pretty good. Get that wood out, that glue out from in between here. Okay, so I think finding a piece of wood of similar kind would be the better fix. Hey, look at that. Definitely not ideal. It's big, kind of a big gap here, but that's because of the break. There's a section that was broken out because this side's pretty flush, and this slipped. So it's not level from one side to the other. So that's kind of a bummer, but still good enough for a template and for testing purposes on the wheel. So let's move over to another spot here. To sand a piece like this, on a big piece on a flat surface. And you just put it down. Just like so. Any of the imperfections will eventually come out. If you have a better way to sand, then by all means use it. But at the moment, some of the simpler ways are like this. Much heavier grit here. Cleaned up the ends, the sides, the top, the bottom. So it's obvious that it was fixed, but sanded it pretty smooth there. Kind of around the corners a little bit. And I'll take the fine paper and get those ends rounded off. Do another smoothing of the sides. So here we have a nice sanded piece of wood. Now I got to clean up on the inside a little bit better, and should be good to go. Let's put some stain on this thing and we'll have at it. So with just a few simple tools, you can do some repairs yourself, and don't be intimidated by that stuff. So what I did is I found a drill that's the size of the holes here, generally the size of the holes. And so now I'm going to go get the drill, and we're going to just run the drill right down through, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. And it's just a little electric hand drill. I will do, and then just kind of and I'm just running it back and forth, just cleaning the groove up. Quick sand here. And I'm just gonna take some paper towel and wipe this all down. Using some wood wax from the Real Milk Paint Company. And, this is walnut oil and carnauba wax blend. Their specific blend, and I do like it. A little bit on there goes quite a long ways. You get to see the magic. See the magic in color. So we're protecting the wood and bringing out the natural, showing that natural color like it would be if it was varnished or wet. And that looks nice and pretty. Just like that. That to that. And it doesn't take a whole lot. More on here. Let's do this other side. And when we're done with this, then we'll wipe it down. Wipe the edges. And see, from an ugly piece of broken wood to a reasonable, okay looking piece that's been glued quite well. It's not perfect, but looks good. Good enough to get the wheel going again. So that's what that's for. Well, I'm not going to complain with that. So the best would be to find another piece of wood of like kind wood. Use this as a template. Make a new piece. Put all your pieces together again as one piece that's unbroken. We will be doing that, I promise. For now, this is a finished piece. So let's go back inside. Okay, so some wood wax. Perfect. Perfect stuff. Let's get these things out of the way. So not quite as dark as this, but this is old. This has got plenty of years on there, so it kind of darkened up, but this is what the new piece that we have. And it looks just fine. Quite pleased. So let's go ahead and put this little bad boy together. So we're going to get our screws that I set aside. Since we're using all the same old holes, there's no issues with anything fitting. It's just gonna fit. So, gonna get one started over on this side and the other this side. And when you screw these down, you don't have to screw them like it's going to have to survive an earthquake or anything like that. Just kind of get them in there, get them snug. Don't want to strip the screws because then you have to go to a larger screw. And then we line that up. So we don't know where side to side everything is, but we do know that everything belongs on this side. So the screw right here, and then the big washer, and just snug. Doesn't have to be cranked down super tight. Snug it down a little more once we're ready position wise. And snug. Now that fits just like that. And back off on the tensioner. That's what you would do. Then we would get a bobbin. Slide it on. Rotate this, put that side on, and then rotate this into place. And now we have a mother of all that fits.